Do animals know they're alive? Right now, your dog is likely lounging on the couch. Maybe he's sound asleep, or maybe he's doing that thing where he stares at you with absolute devotion, acting like you are the center of the universe. But there's a massive question that almost nobody stops to ask. Does he actually know he's alive? I don't mean biologically, we know his lungs are inflating and his heart is beating. The real question is much deeper. Does your dog have an inner spark of awareness? Does he experience the world from a unique personal perspective? As humans, we constantly project our own emotions onto animals. We baby talk to them, buy them overpriced birthday cakes, and sometimes even hold funerals for goldfish. We act like they completely understand us, but what if they don't? What if every animal, from your cat to your parrot, is just an incredibly complex biological robot running on pure instinct, with absolutely zero inner life? On the flip side, what if there really is a mind looking out through those eyes, feeling the weight of existence, and we just can't fully comprehend it? Let's dive down this scientific rabbit hole. To start, what does it actually mean to know you're alive? Philosophers have argued about the problem of consciousness for centuries. At its core, consciousness is about subjective experience. When you see the color red, you don't just process a wavelength of light, you experience the feeling of redness. That subjective feeling is what philosophers call qualia. You feel the sting of the cold, the pang of hunger, and the sheer devastation of realizing someone ate your leftover pizza. Does your cat feel that? It's not an easy question to answer, because from the outside, a creature that genuinely feels emotion and a creature that merely acts like it feels emotion look identical. For most of scientific history, the mainstream consensus was that animals didn't truly feel anything. The 17th century philosopher René Descartes famously argued that animals were just biological automatons. He believed the squeal of a pig wasn't a sign of pain, but just the mechanical noise of a broken clock. What's your take on this? Have you ever looked at your pet and felt absolutely certain they were thinking about something complex? Let me know your story in the comments below. While Descartes didn't have modern neuroscience, anyone who has spent 10 minutes with a pig knows they are highly emotional, intelligent creatures who form attachments. They definitely aren't clocks. Yet science clung to this idea for centuries. Researchers refused to use words like emotion or pain, opting instead for behavior and aversive stimulus. That all began to shift in 1970 when psychologist Gordon Gallup Jr. conducted a revolutionary experiment. He gave chimpanzees a mirror. Most animals see their reflection and think it's a rival. Dogs bark, cats puff up, and birds attack the glass. But after a few days, the chimps started using the mirror to inspect parts of their own bodies, like their teeth. Gallup then placed an odorless colored mark on the chimps' foreheads while they slept. When they woke up and looked in the mirror, they immediately reached up to touch their own face. They recognized themselves. If you're fascinated by the hidden depths of animal intelligence, hit that like button to let me know. This mirror self-recognition test proved that chimps have a concept of self. To recognize your reflection, you must understand that the thing in the glass is me. Since then, gorillas, dolphins, elephants, and even magpies have passed the test. Dogs generally fail it, but that doesn't mean they lack self-awareness. Dogs experience the world primarily through smell, so a visual test is like giving a colorblind person a color-based exam. But there's a leap between recognizing yourself in a mirror and contemplating your own existence. In 1974, philosopher Thomas Nagel wrote a famous paper called "What is it like to be a bat?" Bats navigate the world using echolocation. Nagel argued that even if we perfectly mapped every single neuron in a bat's brain, we would still have no idea what it actually feels like to perceive the world entirely through bouncing sound waves. We can understand the mechanics, but the inner subjective experience remains locked away. What does it feel like to be an octopus with neurons distributed across 8 independent arms? We genuinely don't know. Does it completely change the way you view the natural world, knowing that an octopus or a bee might have a rich inner life? Share your perspective in the comments. Take elephants, for example. They make it incredibly difficult to argue that animals are just biological machines. Elephants clearly mourn their dead. When a herd member passes away, the others will stand around the body, gently touching it with their trunks for hours or even days. They will even return to the site of the death years later. Elephants possess massive brains, highly developed emotional centers, and form deep, lifelong bonds. If they experience true grief, it means they understand that something precious has been lost. They grasp the profound difference between being alive and not being alive. For a long time, the fishing industry conveniently claimed that fish couldn't feel pain. But modern research has completely overturned that. Fish possess nociceptors to detect damage and opioid receptors that respond to painkillers exactly like mammals do. When stressed, they exhibit clear physiological responses. Some small tropical fish, like the cleaner wrasse, have even shown behaviors suggesting self-recognition in mirrors. Then there are bees. Remarkably, bees demonstrate something shockingly similar to pessimism. If you stress a bee out and present it with an ambiguous situation, something that might be a reward or might not, the stressed bee will assume the worst and avoid it. That kind of negative expectation is a hallmark of emotional states in mammals. Even more incredibly, young bumblebees have been observed repeatedly rolling tiny wooden balls purely for fun. Play behavior implies that the animal enjoys the activity, meaning a bee can experience something as pleasant. If you want to keep exploring the incredible mysteries of the natural world and human history, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. In 2012, a group of prominent neuroscientists signed the Cambridge Declaration on Consciousness. They officially concluded that the neurological hardware required for conscious experience isn't unique to humans. Mammals, birds, and even some invertebrates possess it. Does this mean a dog lies awake at night, pondering the meaning of life? Probably not. Explicit, existential dread seems to be a uniquely human burden. But do they have a first-person experience of being alive? Yes. Animals navigate a world full of preferences, attachments, joy, and suffering. When an animal feels pain, it isn't just a biological mechanism. There is a conscious subject experiencing that agony. That reality fundamentally changes the moral weight of how we treat them, from factory farming to habitat destruction. So, when your dog greets you at the door, he might not understand your job title or what a mortgage is. But the joy he feels is intensely real. He lives entirely in the present moment, experiencing the warmth of the sun and the comfort of your presence. He knows what it feels like to be alive, even if he doesn't have the words to ask the question. There is a mind looking out through those eyes, feeling the world in its own profound way. And perhaps that is more than enough.